everybody, welcome once again to Time Out with Kevin Gallagher. I'm here once again around the round table. It's a pleasure to have you here. Hey, and we're starting the year off with something a little bit different. One of the things that I do cover on this show is sports, and haven't done too much of that lately, so we're going to cover some sports, and we're going to do it with a very local flavor, and we're going to be looking at wrestling, and all the wrestlers I'm interviewing are 10 years old, so gotta love it. I'm here today, or tonight, depending on when you're watching this program, with 3 wrestlers and their coach, and before we get to them, I want to point out to you one thing, and that is you can go out to the internet, timeoutyoutube.com, timeoutyoutube.com. That'll bring you to my YouTube page. So if you miss a show, you want to catch a show again, you want to see what some of the shows are that have not aired yet, because I post them there first. You can go and check out all the shows over the last 15 years the show has been on the program. There's close to 1,000 videos up there right now. We have almost 1,900 subscribers, so thank you very much. I'm here today with Fred Mills. You are the coach.
Okay.
Now, exactly before we get to your wrestlers, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about Danbury Wrestling, and we'll take it from there.
Well, sure. I wrestled as a youth in South Plainfield, New Jersey. South Plainfield is actually very highly ranked in New Jersey. They've always been in top 10. Actually, about 2 years ago, they were the #1 ranked team in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey is very high as far as wrestling in the nation. Pennsylvania being #1, with New Jersey #2. So wrestling there, I was a better baseball player, but I did wrestle for about 5 years. And when I moved up to Connecticut to go to Western Connecticut State University, I ended up meeting my wife, and then my soon-to-be nephew was wrestling. And they needed a coach for one of the programs. In Danbury, we have 3 youth teams that compete in the league, and then we have our travel team. So I coach one of those teams, and that was 12 years ago, and I haven't been able to get out of it since. So not only do I coach our in-house, one of our in-house teams, which all of 3 wrestlers here are on my in-house team, but they're also on our travel team.
Fred, you said in-house team and travel team. What's the obvious difference?
Well, Danbury's got 3 in-house teams for our league, and there's actually 12 teams in the league. That's all the adjoining towns, like we have Reading and New Milford and Bethel and New Fairfield. So we wrestle all those teams as well as all the other town teams, including Danbury. And then we also have a travel team where we go to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maine, New York. We like to go to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, where our kids who are very gifted do get a very good challenge.
Okay, and let me know in the control room when you have the first video clip ready. I'd like to roll about 5 minutes of that in. And before we get to that, I have Wyatt Mills, and I believe that you're both related, right? Fred Mills, Wyatt Mills, this is your dad?
Yeah.
Great. Well, welcome to the program. You're 10 years old, and how long have you been wrestling?
Well, I've been wrestling for 6 years. I started when I was 4.
4.
And that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. How do you like wrestling?
Well, I like it a lot because there's always a winner and there's always a loser. There's never, you can never tie.
You can never tie.
And it's very fun. You're very physical, and that's pretty much all I can think of.
Pretty much all you can think of right now, huh? Next to you is AJ Caba, and AJ, you're 10 years old as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And same question, how long have you been wrestling?
I've been wrestling for 6 years.
Okay. And how did you get involved with it?
Well, I started when I was young, so I didn't really know.
You're still young, by the way.
Well, when I was littler. And then when I was 8, I started doing other sports like wrestling and judo, which wrestling helped with them for shooting, the takedowns, and on the ground.
Right, and that's what you enjoy about it? Okay. And over here, all the way across from me, is Chris Wang. And you're 10 years old as well?
Yes.
And how long have you been wrestling?
Only 3 years.
Only 3 years, so you're just a rookie compared to them, huh?
Yeah.
And how did you get into it, and how do you like it?
I also do karate, and my sensei at karate, he's also a wrestling coach, and he told me that wrestling would help me with my martial arts.
Right, because you're doing the grappling.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to check real quick, do we have that video clip ready? And let's roll that video clip in if we have it. Do about 5 minutes of it, and we'll be right back. Do we have the video clip rolling? And so, guys, we have a video clip rolling of the wrestling. Why don't you describe for us, Fred, some of the stuff that people are looking at, and is this pretty typical?
Well, the video was made by Chris Wong's father. It's very nice. What he did is he compiled an end-of-the-year videotape of the kids wrestling and doing different moves and actually performing really well. So what's great about it is you'll see them in a neutral position, whether in standing position, that's how the matches start, or in bottom or top position and performing either escapes or moves to put the other wrestler on their back. You're always trying to score points. Whether with a takedown you get points, reversals if you're on the bottom, or if you're on the top you're trying to turn the other wrestler onto their back. So we work in our in-house team a bit more basic technique,
Right.
but when we get to the travel team, we work on a higher level technique. And these kids pick it up very good, and you know we try to obviously teach moves that work at the youth level, and that will make them successful. And for the 12 years that I've been doing it, I've kind of hammered down moves that work. And we have some very, very talented wrestlers on our team. I mean, these kids represent a small percentage of the kids that wrestle. And the talent level, I mean, we have kids that can actually still beat some of the all-star and club kids, you know, that we wrestle in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And that's why we go there. In this immediate area, we do very well, and it's hard to find really high-level competition. But Connecticut's getting a lot better. Over the 12 years, Connecticut has improved tremendously.
Okay. And with this, you were talking with me earlier about how the Pennsylvania wrestlers in the state of Pennsylvania produces some of the best wrestlers in the country. Why is that?
Well, they wrestle all year round there. Pennsylvania is the #1 state for colleges to recruit from. And the youth wrestlers there wrestle all year round, whereas our wrestlers basically wrestle 6 months out of the year. And, you know, they do other sports. Chris plays lacrosse, and AJ does different martial arts, and Wyatt plays baseball. I think that's good at a young level to do other things, too. But if you really, I feel once the time you get about 12 years old, if you really want to wrestle and possibly wrestle in college, you may want to wrestle all year round and just commit to one sport. But in Pennsylvania, they wrestle all year round. So you're dealing with kids who've been, you know, in great shape and working on moves all year round.
Right, right. So how long have you been actually coaching?
I've been coaching for 12 years. What I really enjoy about it is I joined a very successful program. So, you know, there was a lot of guys that have coached, Jeff Jennings and others that have coached and at the youth level and helped to build the program. And so I learned from them and helped to hone my skills. And the kids that are in high school, I've coached just about all of them. And Danbury, the high school right now, is ranked #1 in the state. And, you know, it's something that I get a lot of pride from because I know I helped them out at the youth level so that I can look at these guys 5, 6 years from now and watch them wrestle at high school and see them get their accolades and really advance. And it's rewarding.
And now, what's interesting is 2 of the 3 boys we have here have wrestled for 6 years. What sort of things are they learning at this age versus, say, when they're 18, 19, 20 years old?
Well, when you get into high school, you want to learn more advanced moves, and some of the technique, it's hard for the kids to actually, you know, pick that up at a youth level. So as they get older, they get more advanced moves.
And so what do you guys get, I mean, out of actually doing the wrestling? What do you find really enjoyable about it, Wyatt?
Well, I enjoy it because if you win, you feel so good. But the bad thing about it is that if you lose, you just don't feel right. It just feels terrible because
That's life, though.
Yeah,
sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
That's what is great about wrestling is they do learn life lessons. You know, I mean, it's some of these sports like, you know, say soccer at the youth level, they don't even keep score. The kids know who won or lost.
Yeah.
You know, here it's pretty cut and dry who's the winner and who's the loser. And if you lost, and most of these guys could tell you, they know why they lost.
They know why they lost.
If they don't know, then I tell them.
Okay. And AJ, same thing. What do you enjoy the most about wrestling? You've been doing it for 6 years, as you said before, so what is it you enjoy the most about it?
I like that, like, your friends can, like, be there, and I like when you wrestle, like, if you lose, it's not like a team, like, your team did something wrong, it's just, like, you and the other person. So if you lose, that's on you. And if you win, then you won by yourself.
Wrestling is not a team sport, is it?
Well, all the points together
Yes.
shows you who won, but
But you're one person wrestling another one person. So
Yeah.
it's your individual effort. What do you enjoy the most about it, Chris?
Well, most of my matches I win, so it's not really hard.
It's not really hard. I like
He's
it.
very good.
But the
You're
matches,
very good, huh?
But the matches I do lose, I remember them. See, the matches I win, I really don't, because I just
It was
beat
too
them.
easy, right? So when you lose, what do you learn?
Well, I learned what I did, what moves I could have did, what I did wrong, so they did that thing and they got me.
Right, and you learn how to counter that, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that we do is, and Chris's father, Ken, helps us out a lot with, is he videotapes the kids, and we do have videotape sessions. And it was funny because Danbury Youth Wrestling Association, that we have an association that's helped grow and raise money so that we could go on tournaments, and we have mats, and we hold tournaments as fundraisers, and we do golf tournaments as fundraisers. But one of the board members came into one of our practices one time, and then I heard from somebody else that they were so blown away that we were having a tape session for the elementary. I don't even think the high school does that.
What grade are you guys in?
5th.
5th grade,
Yep.
and you've been wrestling
Fourth.
Yeah, and you've been wrestling for 6 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. So walk me through a practice, guys. What is it like with a practice with Coach Mills? Anybody?
Yeah, Chris.
Well, first we start off with like jogging so they can get the mats taped and cleaned, and then we do some basic drills and split into two groups,
Yeah.
and one group works one thing and the other works another, and then we have like about a 5-minute break time, and then we do some real wrestling, like going hard at each other and trying to win.
Yeah.
And then
So you wrestle these guys to practice? Is that what it is?
yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Same thing. What do you guys? Tell me about a typical practice.
Like he said, like first we run around while they're cleaning it, and then we do some like drills like stand-ups or switches,
Yeah.
and then like you said before, we split up into groups. Sometimes it's like 3 or 2, depending on how many coaches. Like sometimes like people that help, and like one person does top, other person does bottom, one person does neutral. And then we go to the break, and then when we come back, we get our headgear on, and then we fight. And then sometimes if there's like a tournament coming up or a really hard match or something, we get to play a game, or if we just do good, we get to play a game, like dodgeball.
Same thing, Wyatt.
Plus conditioning, too.
Just tell me about when you go to a practice.
All
What
right.
is it you expect?
Well, I usually expect to wrestle somebody that's challenging, somebody that I usually don't wrestle and that is a little tougher than people that I usually wrestle.
Be somebody a little older than you?
Yeah.
Somebody that you don't know, that you haven't wrestled?
Yeah, like somebody that is older than me, who has a little bit more experience, but most people don't.
Yeah. Tell me, I'm going to stay with you for a minute.
Yeah.
Tell me about a match that you won that just was like the best match ever. Tell me about it.
Well, there was this one match that I won, and it was like down to the wire. It was like really crazy. It was
Milford.
tied. Yeah, it was a New Milford match. This kid beat me once, and I kept trying, and then right at the end, I found a spot where I could have got him, and I got him.
You got him. Tell me about your favorite match that you won.
My favorite match this year is our second match. I think it was at Newtown, and I was wrestling this kid, and it was third period, and I was winning. So he got up, and it was like close, and then I had him like in a clinch, and he was running backwards, and I did like a sweep that I learned from judo, and when he fell, it was like, oh, and then I picked him.
And you had him, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Chris? What about your favorite match?
Well, my favorite match was recently when we went to a Pennsylvania match with the travel team. It was my first match. I shot at him, he sprawled, but then I somehow lifted him up and slammed him down.
And you remember that, huh? That's good. Now, they've referred a lot to their own matches, but also we hear about team and points. So what's the difference? You know, what's the thing that the viewer watching this at home needs to know?
Well, if we are wrestling, we have our in-house matches, so I try not to focus too much on winning and losing. Then we're wrestling in like Newtown and Bethel and New Milford and Reading and our local towns. My in-house team has been phenomenal this year. I mean, we've just to give you an idea, our last match, I'm not going to say with the team we wrestled, but we scored 121 team points and they scored 22 team points. So
and how does a team point system work?
Well, if you pin your opponent, you get 16 points. If you beat them in a tech fall, meaning you got 12 points and they have 0, or you're winning 14-2, you'll get 5 team points. And then if you have a major decision, more than 8 points, you get 14 points. And then if anything, like if you won a 5-4 match, you get 3 team points. We really don't focus on that too much for the regular season. We do have an end-of-the-year tournament that we do at the PAL building, and that's when each team goes in and the kids score points for the team. And that's what we try to win for King Street Intermediate. That's kids wrestle for King Street Intermediate. And also, then they also wrestle for the travel team. Now, on the travel team, we've gone to tournaments in Pennsylvania where they're set up like dual meet tournaments. What that means is your team will wrestle against another team one side of the mat to the other side, meaning our 48-pounder will wrestle their 48-pounder, our 52, and all the way through.
All the way through.
And then they actually keep team points at the table there, so you're actually trying to beat that team overall. We went to a tournament in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and Nazareth is their high school is nationally ranked. They're phenomenal.
And this would be for
this
children
elementary.
their age.
It was a tournament kindergarten through 6th grade. You know, you don't really have a lot of kindergartners, but you have those weight classes that you have to fill. And we have our 6th graders come and try to fill the weights. We try to bring our best team. And we had 2 weight classes where we didn't have wrestlers, so we had to forfeit them. So we were giving the other team 12 points. And we lost one match by 2 points, so we actually beat them, but then had to forfeit 12 points to them at the end. We didn't have the heavy guys. And same thing in that same tournament, we lost one match by 9 points. So our record at the tournament was 1 win and 4 losses, but we could have easily been 3-2, which is very encouraging because we're really going to the heart of the toughest wrestling in the nation.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel.
What makes Pennsylvania so tough? Describe a little bit of it, because in conversations I've had with you, you've told me, oh, yeah, we'll wrestle another town nearby, Bethel, whatever, and we do very well. We go to Pennsylvania, it's like, oh, mamma mia.
It's a wake-up call. I mean, and that's how it should be for any sport. I mean, you want to wrestle at the highest level, and luckily we're 3-4 hours away from the best wrestling in the nation. So that is a very good advantage here. My goal is to at least to try to make a mark at the youth level, so our kids are wrestling at such a high level. By the time they get to high school, then the goal is for Danbury to win the New Englands. That would be the goal. They haven't done that since, I believe, 1991. It might be 1990. I could be wrong on that date. They've always been the top 3-5 in the high school. In the New Englands. My goal is to build a program at the youth level that, 5 years from now, these kids, or hopefully sooner than that, we win the New Englands, and I could actually feel like I was a part of that.
Yeah. So how many coaches are there besides yourself?
Myself and Jimmy Patton, coach for King Street Intermediate, and he helps me with the travel team. We have coaches like Luke Chavez, and we have Tyler Metz. They coach the other Danbury teams at Stadley Ruff and at King Street Primary. So we have 3 in-house teams, and for travel team, then we have our middle school coaches too, and then obviously the high school coach Ricky Shook. The middle school coach Mark Camisa has been involved for 25 years. He's actually one of the directors, I believe, at USA Wrestling. So he's given so much back. His son has already graduated college, and he's still coaching.
Wow. So let me go back to Chris. I asked before what your favorite match was. What about the one that you maybe lost and learned the most from?
Well, there was this one match that was in Pennsylvania, and
Pennsylvania again.
I kept trying to sit out and switch and get to on top of him, but he kept grabbing my arm and pulling, chopping it, and making me flat on the mat. And I wound up losing that match because I kept making that one mistake, and
that's what you learned.
And since then, I don't think you've done that again. So I mean, that's how we try to learn.
That's how you learn. How about yourself? What's the toughest match you had, and what did you learn from it?
One of the toughest matches I had was probably in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
I forgot the team I had to face, but like the guy was like really good, and he kept like getting me onto my back, and I just like kept moving and moving and moving. Then finally he just like had me down for enough time that they called it a pin, but I still was like trying my best and everything. Like he had me like so tight I couldn't move.
Couldn't move, huh? How about you, Wyatt? What was the toughest match you ever had, and where'd you learn?
The toughest match I ever had was probably in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania again. I see a trend here.
And it was actually like a couple weeks ago. It was on Saturday, I think. And so I was it was in neutral position, and the kid shot at me, and I fell, and then I just kept trying to get out, and I kept getting out, and I kept trying to get out, but then the kid caught me at the end, but I didn't get pinned, and then he got you? Yeah, he got me.
All right, you said something interesting. I don't know much about wrestling. You said neutral position. What is that?
When you're standing up, the ref usually goes like this,
Yeah.
and then you're just standing up, and you're in your wrestling stance.
Okay, and you're starting from that position.
Yeah.
Trying to get a takedown.
What's the most rewarding aspect for you as a coach to be coaching the 10-year-olds?
Well, you know, we do have, for our in-house program, we have a 4-year-old that wrestles with us. We have everywhere from 4 years up to about 11 or 12. And the most rewarding thing is, I love being around kids, and I think it keeps you young. And, we have success. There's a tournament at the end of the year. Actually, AJ's wearing the shirt there for Marshwoods. And Marshwoods is, they call it the New England Classic. It wouldn't be considered the New England's, but there's about 80 teams there. And they have different age brackets, meaning bantam, which is, I believe, 7 and 8-year-olds, intermediates, which are 9 and 10-year-olds, and then novice, 11 and 12, and schoolboy, which is 12 and 13, because the middle school goes there as well. And last year we won every division.
Every division.
We won the bantam division with only 5 kids, and they all took first place.
Now, where are matches usually held in this area?
For our travel team, a lot of them are held at different schools that we go to. Actually, this Sunday there's a tournament in Danbury, which a majority of our wrestlers, even kids who aren't on our travel team, I've recommended them to wrestle so they know what it's about, so that they would be considered to join travel teams. We want to get as many kids involved and keep wrestling. And but we go all over the place. I mean, our in-house league matches are at schools usually, but we've wrestled at, like, the Marshwoods is held at the it's in what town is it? It's in Maine, in Portland. I think it's the Portland Civic Center. And there's 14 mats down there in the stands, and I mean the kids sometimes get a little butterflies going there for the first time, because it's pretty dramatic, for a little kid to go in there and look around, and, and like, we're wrestling here, so
like, whoa.
So I try to remind them you're doing the same thing we do all year, the whole year. And I can tell you, I mean, I really push these kids, but they like it. They want to learn more, and the parents. What's great about it in Danbury is the parents are on board.
So it's a very family-oriented.
We're a big family. I mean, some sports, it's amazing how you go into another sport and it seems very
distant.
I mean, we all work together. We all drive together. We carpool. The last 2 tournaments I went to, I had 7 people in my car, taking kids that their parents couldn't go, but they wanted to go. So it is a family, and we do have parties at the end of the year, and sometimes we'll have a good match, and we'll play dodgeball at the end of practice, and it keeps the kids having fun, because you can't just be strict and disciplined all the time. We're dealing with kids.
So for the kids here, is it fun to travel far away to go to a match? Do you like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Why do you like it? Why?
I like it because you get to stay in a hotel, and you usually don't get to stay in a hotel, and usually the matches are tougher, and if you lose a match, then you learn from that match, and I can't really think of anything else.
But that's what.
Yeah, it's
how about yourself?
When we go far away, it's like fun to see like places while you're driving, and like at the matches, like if you lose, like it doesn't mean anything, because like they're harder people than like what you're used to wrestling, like in Connecticut. So it's okay if you lose; you'll learn from it. And yeah.
And you like traveling to matches?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
why?
staying in the hotels.
You like staying in the hotel, huh?
And
The kids all
playing
swim together.
with my friends, and we go a lot to hotels. And usually after we're done wrestling at the tournaments, we kind of like the whole team goes out for dinner, and it's really fun.
Hey, we're almost done, so is there anything you guys want to add before we go off the air? Anything that you want to get out on the air about wrestling?
Yes.
What?
Wrestle. It's really fun. A really fun sport.
And what's so fun about it? What do you like about it?
Well, you get to hang out with your friends that are usually on your team, and there's a lot of kids to play with and have fun while the other person is wrestling and chat.
One of the good things too is what I noticed as a coach is a lot of the kids who do martial arts, and not so much as MMA, but like with say jiu-jitsu, and not even jiu-jitsu, like taekwondo, they don't really get to do it. They don't really get to like actually do it. Where in wrestling we do it. We practice. These kids beating each other up.
Him over here, he's doing the martial arts.
Too.
Are you doing it too?
These guys are very, very good wrestlers. pound for pound. We have this year, since these guys are on the older side, they actually have the chance to wrestle in the real New Englands, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and they'll go all the way through. So they could actually be, these kids have a chance to be a state champ and a New England champion.
Now, real quick, what martial arts are you studying?
I'm doing lots, like some.
Which one? You're a black belt?
Yeah, I'm a black belt. I do in that jiu-jitsu. We do little forms, which is like nunchucks and stuff.
And you do martial arts as well? Mm-hmm. Which are?
Well, the mixed martial arts that I do is like everything put together, so you have to do it.
And why? Are you doing any martial arts?
No.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? We're out of here. So, boys, thank you so much for coming in.
All right,
hey,
bye.
Thank you for bringing
Thank you
the
very
boys
much.
in. Thank you,
Appreciate
Fred. See you soon. Hey, I'm Kevin Gallagher. I want to thank you so much for joining me here on the program. Remember, if you miss a show and you want to see it again, go to timeoutyoutube.com, and you can check out all the shows there. And until then, please tune in again next week to see what it is we'll be talking about. Until then, have a great night.